Hello and welcome back, friends, to another episode of Lynch Paints, where today Lynch will be painting one of his favourite ever models from the Halo franchise, from one of his favourite ever games in the Halo franchise, Halo 3 ODST. So, let us grab our paints and paintbrushes and let's dive feet first into hell. But of course, before we get started, we're going to need a very small selection of paints, and these are the ones I've used in the video today, alongside which we'll require a medium-sized brush, a smaller size brush, and a teeny weeny teeny tiny brush for those teeny tiny places. So we'll start out with a basic black acrylic primer over the model, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to start out by painting the armor bits first. So I'm going to grab some of this Abaddon black and some of this Storm Vermin fur, and then what we're going to do is that we're just going to take a little bit of each, and we're going to make a nice dark grey, and then we're just going to start to build the colours up to a mid-tone grey, and then finally highlighting it with a lighter grey. So it's going to go into it like this, and thin it down of course with just a little bit of water, so then that way you get maximum control over where your paint is going to be flowing. Now it may seem a little bit thin, but that's okay because you can always build up a couple of extra layers on the top, but it's always best to put down too little than it is to put down too much. So now that we've got the first layer down, I'm just going to add in more of the Storm Vermin fur, and we're going to just make it a little bit brighter, and we're going to be working in smaller areas compared to the first time, so this way we're going to help to try and blend the colours up as best we can. Now, we're going to take our Storm Vermin fur and we're going to create a bit of a camo pattern on some of the armour pieces. So I had a little look at some reference pictures just to sort of refresh my memory a little bit, and obviously a lot of it is very dark, gritty imagery. But there is a slight patterning, like a bit of an urban style going on the thigh pieces and the vambrace, is it called, on the forearm. So just have a little look at some reference pictures if you're not quite sure what to kind of achieve. But effectively it's just blobs. Just do blobs, and you should be fine. So we're just going to apply some of these just here and there. Once it's dry and we still have our Storm Vermin fur, we're going to take a slightly smaller brush, and then we're going to start just to edge highlight as many of the armor pieces as we can / like. Because of course it's your model at the end of the day, you don't have to edge highlight if you don't want to. But if you want to, then give it a go. But just be patient with it. Find a comfortable brush and make sure you thin your paints down with a little water just to help with the control. So after we've done all the highlighting, it's gone from quite a sort of hard to distinguish model into something pretty damn good. It does look a lot better in person than it does on camera, because obviously like your eyes can pick up a lot more of the detail in different shades, but it should, when you're at this stage, look pretty darn good. Almost finished, but not quite. So what we're going to do is we're going to start to paint the gun. Now, to differentiate that from the rest of the armor, we don't want to just paint it all the same color again. So I'm going to add some of this Incubi Darkness into the mixture. So it's a very bluey grey, and this will just help just to make the weapon stand out over the armor. You could do this vice versa, so you could use the Storm Vermin fur for the weapon, and then introduce the Incubi Darkness onto the armour. It just depends on which way you want to take it, if you want a more sort of blue tone feel, or if you want the more standard sort of grey sort of urban feel. So for this, we're just going to just loosely pick out the majority of the gun. At this point, it does look like I'm painting black onto black, but there is a small amount of this Incubi Darkness. And then you could wait for it to dry and then go over again, but I'm just going to do it just as it's still relatively fresh. And then it's going to work much the same as the armour, just in a smaller area, just to help to build up that sort of shade, that blend effect. Don't forget to do the inside of the weapon as well. And if you want to take it a little bit further, then you can add in a little bit of the grey, the Stormvermin fur, just to brighten up the Incubi Darkness. And it will also help just to tie that into the rest of the armour, because you're using the same colour. So at this point, we've done the majority of the armour, we've done the majority of the colour, but we're going to try to inject a little bit of personality into it. So I've left the top of the helmet bare, because we're going to introduce a different colour. So I've painted one of these already with a white stripe, so I'll just show you over here. And this kind of represents like the rookie from Halo 3 ODST, one of the greatest Halo games ever made. I'll fight you on that. I will die on that hill. So I've already done a white one. So what we're going to do, we're going to do a red one. So I'm going to grab this Mephiston red, and again you can use any other kind of red that you like. And already it's going to be a little bit on the bright side. So we're going to add a little bit of black just to dull it down a little bit, and then we're going to blend a brighter red into it. So again, water it down, have a nice small brush that's comfortable to use, and then we're going to apply a different colour. And again, it doesn't have to be red, it could be blue, green, white if you wanted to, pink, any colour you wish. So at the end of the day, it's your model, and you can do whatever you like with it. And then normally they have this extra bit on the shoulder plate in a red, in the same colour as the stripe, it doesn't have to be red. And normally there's a stripe down the middle of the chest plate, so we can only really see just this little bit of the underside, which is good because that means we can get away with not being very accurate at all. We can just do a quick little line and that's it. But it gives the impression there is a full stripe there. And then what we'll do, we'll just add in a little bit more red into the mix over and over again until we have achieved the desired brightness of red. So our ODST is almost nearly ready, but we're going to be painting the last little bit, which is going to be the visor. So just starting out with our Incubi Darkness as a base colour, just going to just very carefully just apply this blue into the visor area. And I've swapped out for an even smaller brush than before, so you want the smallest brush you can. Next, we're just going to take this Lothram blue, or any sort of mid-toned, sort of brighter blue, and we're going to start to just work that into our Incubi Darkness to build up the layers. And make sure you're just thinning down with a little bit of water, and we're going to just slowly pick out the more raised areas on the visor. So at the very end, I just highlighted with pure Lothrum blue, because I don't think that it needs white necessarily. So you can see with the other one, done the exact same thing. And yeah, I think that if you were to add in white with the Lothrum blue when sort of highlighting the visors, I think it would make it a little bit too eye-catching. And I don't think that you'll be able to get the detail that you're after because it's on such a small surface area. But yes, so I'm just going to stick these onto the turntable and we'll be ready for the outro. However, there is one little thing that I missed out that adds a little bit more variety to the miniature, so it's not all just greys. So, I'm going to take some of this Agrax Earthshade, or any sort of brown wash that you may have, and just going over the little pockets, the little bags you have on the sides, and just give it just a little wash with the brown. And this creates a nice sort of dark, sort of earthy tone, and it does help to make it stand out just a tad, just to give it a little bit of variety to the miniature. So it doesn't have to be a big change, it doesn't have to be really necessarily bright, but just giving it that slight colour difference can make it just that worthwhile to do. So now we're ready for the turntable, let's do the outro. And so here we are at the end of the video. So this is how I went about painting the ODSTs from the much beloved sci-fi genre Halo. And I all hope that you have enjoyed this video and painting along wherever you are in the world. These files, they were provided to me by the lovely people over at Halo Ground Command. It's a Facebook page. I'll include a link to it in the description down below. Check them out. They're really lovely guys over there, and gals. And if there's any help that you need, any sort of files you might be after, do pop them a question and they'll be more than happy to help you out in that department. So it's a very simple colour scheme, not many colours at all. And I've been wanting to make this video for a while, because Halo ODST is by far one of my all-time favourites of the Halo games, and it's been an absolute pleasure to be able to paint these. And this is going to be for a Halo D&D system that I'm building with a friend of mine from the ground up, and we've recently done a sort of version 2 of the game. The first one that I did, it was very kind of bloaty and not very sort of streamliney. But this second version that we're working on does seem to absolutely hit the mark. So I'm going to do like some play testing and that sort of stuff on another day. But if it goes well, then I might do some videos covering the different classes that I've got, the enemies, like the stat blocks that I've made, and obviously like all the weapons and the armor and all that sort of stuff. So if any of that does sound good to you, then let me know down in the comments. If you like this video, give me a like, show your appreciation, and comment down below which part was your favourite. Let me know if you painted one of these before, because I'd really love to know how you painted these ODSTs. I know that there is a in some of the art that I've seen, there's a slight kind of olive green hint to it, but personally I'm not a huge fan of that. I prefer the more sort of grey tones with the slight kind of blues, like kind of earthy tones mixed in as well. So yeah, let me know down below, and if you're new, again, subscribe to the channel. It really helps. We recently just hit a massive milestone, so thank you ever so much to everybody for joining me on this great journey of painting plastic miniatures and then just throwing them on a board and throwing some dice with friends. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. So big thank you to everybody that's continued to support the channel, and thank you to everyone that is currently now doing it today. So without further ado and further waffling, stay safe, stay beautiful, and we'll see you all next time.